the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Winning program, like that's not what South Carolina has been in the entire history of their existence. If they got a guy that's getting to bowl games consistently, that's all they can really ask for in my book.
I don't know. I'm gonna ride with Dan Mullen here. I don't know how we got into Dan Mullen here, but
you just love Dan Mullen, so I don't know how.
I'm a big Dan Mullen guy.
A big Dan Mullen guy. My next tier, we got year one loaded with talent. Number 9 and 10 on my list. We got Mike Elko and Kalen DeBoer. So I don't think these guys are under too much pressure, obviously year one, but I don't think these fans know how to not have their coach be under pressure. So A&M is just not going to be it's just going to be looked at as more of a quick fix. Like they know how they've been recruiting. Obviously they lost some to the portal when they fired Jimbo, but like they got the funds, you know, they're going to get the players. So they're not going to have much patience, but I put them a slightly ahead of Kalen DeBoer in Alabama, just because replacing Nick Saban, I think just buys you a little bit more leeway. But Alabama fans, it won't take long for the pressure to increase. But I think this year one, I put DeBoer down at 10.
It's interesting. I mean, I would say Elko he's pretty low on mine. He's 14th, I believe. Yeah, he's 14th on my list. Only 2 coaches below him for me in terms of hot or pressure coming into this year. I think the pressure with DeBoer is so fascinating because I have no idea what the temperature is for Alabama fans, right? Is it a revitalization because they got accustomed to just coasting with Nick Saban for so long that if they get hit in the mouth and they struggle early, that Bryant-Denny actually becomes a top 3 home venue in the SEC? Do we see the students?
He needs us, guys. They gotta
do they wake back up? Do they come back into the fold and become like a really intimidating place to play? DeBoer's never lost. Like he's got one of the best resumes in the sport. I don't know. Like he's a coach who just came off a national title appearance, inheriting a better roster than he had at Washington that just made the national title. Like I have no idea what the most realistic expectation an Alabama fan should have for DeBoer. Like if I was an Alabama alum and fan right now, I don't know how I'd be feeling going into this year. I guess I would say with the talent, the schedule that they have and everything else, it's like anything below 9 and 3 is unacceptable, but I would also be like 9 and 3 is kind of a disappointment going into this year. So I think the pressure's sneaky high for DeBoer, where I don't think he's going to, like Elko is a gap year. Like a lot of coaches, when they get in that year 0, like Heupel walked into, and like Billy Napier at Florida, Shane Beamer, when he walked into like a lot of coaches get the year 0 to get things in order, flip the roster, that sort of thing. I don't think Alabama is going to have that. Like, I don't think DeBoer is going to be able to just say, hey, we're going to experiment and let me figure this stuff out this year and figure out how to win in the SEC and how to win in Alabama. I think the expectation, because people think that Jalen Miller is a Heisman finalist. People think that this Alabama team should be good enough to win a national title this year. So I have no idea what the rational, most fair expectation is for DeBoer and what kind of pressure he should be under. But I think he's sneaky high in terms of how much pressure he actually is, because it's just, he's the guy who's following Nick Saban. And if he shows any signs of like, oh, this is not going to work. Like this is not working in the SEC. And he loses in a bad way to Tennessee on the road. He loses to Georgia. He loses to Tech. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what the pressure cooker is going to look like in Tuscaloosa.
I think you convinced me that DeBoer might be ahead of Elko in this, because I think if A&M goes 8-4.
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.